Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. With us today, the CEO of uglychristmasshirts.com. Stock is flying because everybody thinks that the next subsidiary to HPQ is going to be uglychristmasshirts.com. He's back. Bernard Tourneau, CEO of HPQ, trades on the venture under the stock symbol HPQ. We had him on just before Christmas. Now we're having them just after Christmas. And what we're here to talk about is the company's headline: HPQ files provisional patent application for silicon byproduct created by the PureVap as anode material for lithium ion batteries. There's a lot in there, but as always, when Bernard's putting out news, it's got real meaning. So let's get to it. First of all, Bernard, hope you had a very Merry Christmas. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
You don't take a break, huh? Just before Christmas, you're putting out press releases. After Christmas, you're still cranking them out. Let's talk about this one. A byproduct.
Yep.
How does this differ from the main silicon products that you've been talking about all along? And kind of where did this come from?
Well, it's when we did some work on the QRR. Okay, this is actually like the conclusion of our introduction in the battery space, in the silicon work for battery space. When we did the QRR, when we had doing tests, we ended up producing some byproduct, which is basically, silicone and other materials combined into it.
Sure.
And we started the research program a few years ago with Professor Lionel Rouet. And the idea was to see if that byproduct was also a viable option as an anode material. And lo and behold, we ended up finding it's very interesting. It has some properties that's even actually, seems to be definitely better than graphite. That's a given, and seems to be better also under certain situations in silicone. So we started the investigation.
But it's a silicon byproduct, right? At the end,
it's a PureVap
byproduct.
It's a product. It's a material that is produced by the PureVap QRR. Okay. We call it silicone byproduct because it isn't pure silicone that we're going to be producing with the QRR, but it is still a silicone byproduct that we produce, that we have our way of producing is controlled to a QRR. And we did the research and everything else. And it was during that phase of work where it truly became evident to HPQ and pyrogenesis that we needed a better way to convert that material into the size material that they're going to be needed for battery space and above. Okay, so this is where really that was the genesis of the Nano Reactor and all our work in that area and environment, is because we discovered that it's very nice to have a material that's very good at basic, but it is how you convert that material to a battery space. So all that work led to where we are right now, which is now having, the Gen 1 working, starting figuring a way to produce the material and the size scapes and everything else. We're a materials company. So what we're looking to do is the material that's going to be able to work very well in the battery space. So it was a very exciting result. And it's a very exciting field. It's an additional field that we're doing. We're going to have the pure silicone coming out of the PureVap. Then we're probably going to be producing some byproduct if the results are better in the battery space as we move along. As we said, it's preliminary. The key message I wanted to show out there is we understand a lot more of the battery space that we've let on because we've been working on this longer than people thought. And just even with our byproducts of the material, we do better material than graphite. So it's very promising for 2021.
Damn that. So that's powerful. Can we obviously then the other upside to this is that you're making the whole process even more economical, because every process has waste, sludge. It's just, no matter what, almost everything does. But you've managed to capture, how much of the byproduct are you capturing? Is it a small portion? Is it all of it?
It comes out of a QRR, test phase, a Gen 2 reactor. So it's, we're not in a position to calculate and all those type of things. It's going to come more into phase as we get the pilot plant running and everything else. But as it is, it's just a demonstration of flexibility and our vision into this. We understand that we're a materials company, and one of the products we do is the main product, the silicone into it, which is going to be like 3N to 4N in one step, like nobody else in the industry can do. And we also have some byproduct that seems to have some very interesting properties in the battery space. So it's our abilities to move that. But what we figured out from all of this is that making the product, the silicone of the byproduct, is nice. It's very exciting. The results are very exciting. But we had to figure a way for us to be able to convert that into an economic material. Because what came out of all the process we use to make that material, are great at lab scale. Okay, going to give you great results at lab scale, but there's no way that you can even think about going commercial with those processes. So, and that's a point I've always been saying, that working with pyrogenesis, really the focus is that we think commercial scale. So yes, we were excited about the results, but those results without the nano reactors are sort of like, they're great results, they're, university results. But they led us to think about the process to go forward. They led us how to think how we're going to go low cost on making the material, on transforming the material. Okay, so we know we're low cost on making the material, but then you got a second question, transforming the material. All right. And also there's a lot of things that have been going on with, you got to remember that we work with Apollon Solar, which are sort of like, leaders over there when it comes to transformation application of silicone. So there's a lot of materials that we're learning, that we're implementing, and working all of us together toward that goal, which is, being the lowest cost producer of silicone materials and byproducts for the battery space and beyond.
So more than just lip service,
Mm-hmm.
you're filing provisional patent application,
Mm-hmm.
right? Can we infer from that you expect this byproduct to be a very important part of the future of HPQ, first of all, and then tell me about, the patent applications. What's the process, and what coverage are you getting? Canadian, North American, international?
Okay. I'll answer this in different phases. Why do we do it? Because it's the smart move to protect it. We don't know yet where this is going to go till the end. It would have been silly for us to do everything and figure out, oh, the byproduct is really a great product, but we didn't think about patenting it. So we didn't think about protecting it. Our strategy to protect intellectual property is always two phases. One part patent, one part trade secrets. Our proprietary way of doing the work, and that's how we keep doing this. As for our patent strategy, I think we've been very clear that we're not going to divulge at large what it is. I think people that know, we just filed for provisional patent, and the real patent filing is going to come at a later phase and everything else. But it's all part of the process. The clockwork has started. Our idea is protected, and we're moving forward. Is this going to be the central key? You don't know. When you start these type of projects, wow, you don't really know what's going to be the central key. What we know is this led to the thinking of creating the nano reactor. And the nano reactor is more than just a nano reactor. As I said, it's a capacity to make spherical material, silicone material to start off with. And in the size range that the battery is going to do, we know that the size range we're looking at, 5 micron down to 200 nanometers, is a sweet spot, but it's the complicated sweet spot to do.
The last time we spoke, talking about the reactor, you were on time, on budget. Mm-hmm. So I know it's only been 10 days and Christmas was part of that, but I have to ask, where are you at with progress there? And if you told me not much progress was made, I wouldn't be surprised, because like I said, we just came off of a decent break here.
To be totally honest, like discussing where we are in this, I think we'll go more through press release, but I think it's going to be a fun 2021. That's really what most I can say. I can say that I'm happy with the preliminary results. And the first phase is starting the machine. We learn from it, we understand it, and then the 2021 from January. It's going to be exciting because it's quicker than anything else for us to reach our goal, which is producing material, sending it to end buyers, sending it to laboratories, and getting that thing rolling.
Any ETA right now? Is it fair to ask right now? An ETA as to when you think those samples will start going out, especially to the global auto manufacturer, place the first order, and and others?
I will stay with the quote that has come out from Peter Pascali, which is our technology partner. He said either the end of the year or, you know, a bit after. So basically,
Right.
that's what we publicly divulge, and I'm not gonna make more divulging out of this.
Yeah, but I got to ask, right?
I
Because
know,
people
but
at home are going to say, "Why isn't George asking?"
yeah, but people have to know that I can't answer.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about it. Let's talk about then, generally speaking.
Mhm.
The 2020 was a great year for the company. There's no doubt about it. Uh, Not just in terms of stock price, but in terms of development and how far you've gone. I would say it was uh, three or four, three magnitudes greater than the year before, right? Do you expect the same kind of magnitude jump for 2021? Are the gains going to be exponential now in terms of the business? We're not talking about stock price.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of the business and how it's going to proceed from here, does it accelerate? Because my thinking says when a company, I know Gorecom, when we get to the product stage and release it, it just accelerates because now people are seeing it, they want to use it, they
Mhm.
want to, so on. I'm assuming the same thing, but I want to put words in your mouth for HPQ. But does 2021 accelerate now?
It's gonna be a wild good year. 2020 was how can I say this? In retrospect, I will look at this as the last year I was able basically to breathe because 2021 is going to come in much faster, and there's multiple reasons behind this. One of them is we got the Nano Reactor coming online. I haven't given them too many updates on the QRR, but I'll be starting to do this. And we have other projects. We got the hydrogen project we're working at Apollon. We got other projects in the pipeline that's going to be coming online. So, 2018, 2019, 2020 were basically years where we were doing a lot of the groundwork when you're building basically the foundation of a building. So really what it is. And 2021 is where, things are going to become much more visible. And you got to combine that with the fact that the space in which HPQ is in um,
Yeah,
is
that space
attract
alone is going through a paradigm parabolic
that
shift.
space is going through a paradigm. But we've been at this for 5 years. Our business plan has not changed. I know some of my competitors that are doing some type of products. Going to be graphite type of space, those type of things. They're still stuck with the same issues that I saw as problem before. In the industrial mineral, a mine is a big problem even before. So it changes the dynamic. We're more focused on the product, the material, the applications, the expansion of what the technology we're developing, the additional scope into it. But we're gonna be pretty busy with the silicone for batteries, and the silicone for hydrogen is going to keep us very, 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 very busy. And if
Yeah,
that's
you
not
have the
enough,
beautiful comfort of not having to worry about capex to create a mine, to get this stuff out of the ground. I mean, how great is it just not even have to worry about that? Whereas other companies in the space, not that they're in silicon, but you mentioned them in graphite, actually have to worry about that.
well, everybody that's playing the game of battery material, maybe Safe One, that's developing its own technology, are all sort of like offshoot of mining industries. So they have their mind to deal with. And I think the experience of investors has been that the mine sort of becomes
Choke point.
the choke point. It always becomes the choke point
Yeah.
because it's either so by
Like in
us not.
Namaska. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Namaska lithium is one. Namaska is one. I think there's gonna be more than one. I think there's a few other lithium play that got to the same point. It's like the same thing. If you're trying to develop, like I'm talking a resource guy here, if you're trying to develop a copper play, well, it's very difficult to develop a copper play because it has to be of the size and scale enough to have a few $billion of investment which is required to build it. Well, no matter what your market cap is, the $1 billion to raise. And it's going to be the guys that put in the money to tell you who you're going to dance with, how you're going to dance with, and how many times you're going to dance with. And that's sort of been what I want to make sure that we're free, that we're basically, I'm not tied into a long-term contract. I can be a
Nimble
players and everything else. And the way we've built the company has been around that philosophy. I've had many discussions with government financiers, and they always have that dream thought that Wait, sorry about this. No,
Yeah, you're here. I got you.
no, I got the other one appeared too.
That's okay. Keep on going.
Okay, so okay, give me 2 seconds. We can be nimble, we can be focused on what we're doing. And I had discussion with government where they're always going to say, get an offtake agreement. An offtake agreement for okay, I got him off. Let me just shut this off. No, it's not you. I thought I was on Do Not Disturb. Well, it's Christmas time. What can I say? I didn't think people were going to call me between Christmas and New Year.
Hey, we don't see the phone calls coming through, but
no, but they came in. I was hearing it in my ear.
If it's Elon Musk, that would have been funny. Elon Musk is calling. Not that we're making any.
No. Let's not make no. That was it's probably something more else. You forgot something to bring back. Those type of things. What you doing at the office today?
Your wife telling you to bring milk and stop talking.
Yeah, so something like that. More like that than anything else. Anyway,
but it's nice to dream.
Yeah. I'm not worried. It will happen. If it's not him, it'll be somebody else. It's really not something that's a big issue for us. So let's go back to what I was saying before. I was so rudely interrupted by the technology because I forgot to put the do not disturb thing. I had discussion with government, and they have an obsession with you need to have an offtake agreement with a big company. Well, when you're small negotiating an offtake agreement, you're not really in a position to control. Look, if you're selling on Amazon and your product is selling very, very well, Amazon's going to become your competitor. So whatever it is, it depends on the size and scope. So we've managed ourselves since the beginning to have a thought process which is we can be in a position where what we want to sell, okay, can be easily sold in the spot market for it, where there's a spot demand for it. So if the market is a few 100,000 metric ton per year, and we're producing 2,500 ton, we'll be able to get in the spot market. In the battery space, what we think is going to happen is our product is going to be so unique that it's going to be the reverse situation. It's going to be everybody wants to partner up with us to be it. Then we'll have sort of the abundance of choice of doing it too. So this is why I don't want to get married too early with one of them because the third guy might come up with a better solution. You don't know that. So this is what 2021 is going to be. It's going to be the start of all those type of issues.
Plus, offtake agreements. Typically, you need an offtake agreement because before George lends Bernard $1 billion to build something, I want to know you've got a customer waiting on the other end, right? That's just another element of the whole CapEx issue. And then you have the customer on the other end knowing this, knowing that you absolutely need them in order to get the funding from George, and you end up giving the stuff away at a cheaper price than you wanted to if you could have just been nimble. So thankfully, HPQ worries zero about that. And nobody tells Bernard who to dance with, how many times to dance with them.
Well, no, it's been something I've been observing into it. I even saw a gold project that were so desperate to get financing that, they ended up signing offtake agreement. And when you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. They're selling it cheaper than it's costing them to make it. Of course, the company doesn't last very long, but that's what it is. But, in the short term, it looks good. Long term, and we don't think short term.
Last question for your quote. I always think you're talking to the investors sometimes with quotes, but he said, this is another demonstration of our multi-prong approach. I think we kind of discussed that, but we'll discuss a little more. To become a key silicon-based material provider for the battery industry and beyond. Let's talk about that beyond. That interests me.
Well, I think one of the beyond market we're looking at is silicon for hydrogen. Okay, it's a process of hydrolysis. It's a very interesting process. The more I'm learning about it, the more we're having discussion, guys at Apollon, the more I see a bigger scale capacity than I thought. And it's all related to the capacity that we will have to produce, the powder required to generate at a cost that will make that hydrogen, that energy source, that green energy source, competitive. And that's what the world's looking for right now. So, it's something that's known, but everybody understands that the hydrogen work. Everybody understands the principle. The bottleneck has always been the cost of making the raw material, the feedstock to turn it to extract the energy, which is sort of like the problem in everything else. And we think we have a solution that's a multifaceted into it. So it's a secondary market where I think it's going to become bigger, and I'm really excited about that one. And I like the fact that it gives us flexibilities. It will give me flexibilities when I'm having these discussions. It means that, if, somebody Googles a different type of battery solution, that could completely revolutionize because they discovered using peanut butter, you can make a better batteries. HPQ is not going to be any issue. Those are the type of, that's just what it means. It's reducing the risk. Not that I believe that's going to happen. Not that I'm even worried about this, but investors have a tendency to send me questions on those type of Google research.
Last question, and more, it's like last message too. It's December the 28th. So I don't presume we're going to have you back on the next couple of days, but with you, you never know. But I'm going to presume.
I can be definite that you will not see me until next year. Of course, naturally, we're on 29.
As we're talking, the stock is making another 52-week high at 96 cents. So maybe last message to you, how do you feel? How do you feel? Do you sometimes pinch yourself, that HPQ has come this far and getting great acknowledgement from the market? What do you want to say to your shareholders? Because we know there have been a lot of them who've been faithful, been watching these videos for the last 4 years, even 5 years, really believing, and now everyone's starting to get rewarded. What's your message to shareholders? It's not over yet, I know, but we can, how do you end off 2020 here?
2020 has been a weird year. If you would have told me, we had those discussions when, the virus story came along between you and myself, and, the original tangent of what we thought would be coming would have been very negative for HPQ, and in reality, it wasn't negative for us. It was actually a positive. And as we look at the post-COVID world that we're coming in, we're incredibly well positioned. Reality is, we're a renewable energy company. We're working on this, and I believe that there's a lot of investors that are in the story because they truly believe in that concept and in that vision. We didn't, that wasn't what we started. When we were starting, we were just looking at a way to do a better silicone. We just realized all the application of the green application of silicones. That's very exciting. I think 2021 is going to be a great year. I think 2020 was a good year. I'm happy for shareholders that have been there. For any shareholder that's been longer than 6 months to HPQ is a very happy shareholder. That's just the reality of it, because I look at the
shareholder's been there for longer than 6 days. A very happy shareholder.
Yeah, well, right? 6 days, yes, but it's not the same level of joy. Let's be realistic. If you're a shareholder for more than 6 months, it's a massive joy. If you're a shareholder for 6 weeks, it's you will be getting your turn at the. I believe you will be getting your turn at the same level of joy, percentage wise. It's been a great year. I think we have some. I think we do have some very great shareholders that understand and see it. Very zealous shareholders that will send me technical information and ask me questions, and hopefully knowing that I can't really answer all of them. And it's been fun. It's been a wild ride, but I've been in the business long enough to understand that this is just the beginning. We have to continue to deliver. It's not having a great idea that makes a company great. It's having a great implementation plan. And what we've done since the beginning is partner up with people that have an expertise in implementation, demonstrate a track record, and that's what's going to continue. I'd like to give a hats off to two of my biggest shareholder, really, and Pyrogenesis is one of them. Peter and his group and his team have done fantastically well for HPQ, and we've done fantastically well for them, which is the way it should work. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. Same thing to the Quebec government. They came in and believed in us, and they did accept what seemed to be weird term in 2018 when they came in with a 12 cents convertible debenture. We were trading at 8. And they've also gotten rewarded, and the Quebec government, the Canadian government is going to get very excited about green technology, and we're just coming online with green technology, but we're not going to talk to people about things we're going to do. We can say, this is what we've said we're going to do, this is what we're going to be doing. I think one thing that's going to be fun in 2021 is there's going to be multiple moving parts that are going to become more visible. So
What
that's really exciting.
what does it feel like even to have in 2020 to have brought on someone like 3D Capital and Sheldon Inwitosh as an investor as well as a kind of like that turning moment?
It's it's great. It's interesting and finally attracting those type of interests. And it's funny the way it came out. It came out organically, naturally. He was interested in me. I didn't, not in me, in what HPQ is doing.
Of course,
Be
of
very,
course.
very clear. What HPQ is doing, what HPQ is developing, what the division of HPQ. So he was organically interested in us. I didn't go and make a sales pitch to him. He actually, and that's the way I think it should be. And I think in 2021 is going to be that way. My plan in 2020 was to do more marketing, but COVID reality made me more having to develop more social presence, which we've started to develop. We'll have a new website up for HPQ Nano relatively soon.
The forum on Agoracom, I got to admit, has been a huge communications piece on the social side, being able to engage investors that way. I thought that was really valuable.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, we didn't take too much care of our social media, but ever since we now have somebody taking care of all that social media for us, it's helping us moving forward. I have to be aware of that new reality of doing things. It's not like it used to be before, but it's fun.
Hey, I put up one post, and I won't mention where, but under two influential investors about HPQ on Twitter. They were talking about renewables, and two influential Silicon Valley accounts, and each one of those posts is well over close to 20,000 views now. So it's amazing, right? That when you talk to the right people online, it's amazing the kind of response you get. Bernard, on behalf of everybody at home watching this or listening by a podcast, I know you're giving a lot of credit to your partners, and that's obviously a big part of your success. But at the end of the day, you are the CEO. You're the tip of the spear, and I want to thank you, congratulate you on behalf of everyone at home for what you've accomplished in 2020. That you stuck with your vision that you started with. You didn't jump into the hot things. You saw it coming, and here we are in December 28th, 2020, and because of you, we all have a great 2021. Heck, I'm looking at the next 5 years. It's like we said.
Yeah, makes sense.
Renewable batteries, electric vehicles, all that is just coming to our lives in a big way in the next 5 years. So, 2021 is going to be great, but for me, it's the next 5 years that are really exciting, and we have you to thank for that. So, congratulations, man! I hope you have an extra drink on New Year's Eve. An extra toast and celebrate because you deserve it.
Thank you. But by the way, George, it's sort of funny now. You remember when we started this on the garage? And what did we have? Like 15 views? I still remember one of our directors. It looked like a scary movie. The first interview we did with a black screen behind me, it was like, it looked like somebody was going to come out and stab you and everything else. It's sort of funny how it has progressed and how this has become a very useful tool of communication, really expanding the way we can issue, press release. It makes me feel better because, I have regulatory obligation when I write, and then I can explain more. And I like this contact and everything else. Maybe in 2021 we can do a sort of a question and answer format where we can get people more time. Like the last one that did it, there was 400. He never got that high of an attraction, 400 people. And he cut me off at 15 minutes after a question. It's like, we would have time for like an hour and a half of discussion with Bernard and George around the table.
And investors love it. I got to tell you, they love it. They tell us that so many more are listening, by the way, because they can't always sit and watch. But they love these so much that, they're listening in their car. They're listening while they're taking walks, even when they're working out. So we appreciate everyone at home who we don't take it for granted for everyone at home that you actually give us your time and your attention. It's awesome that you guys are doing it, and we're glad that it's valuable for you.
If you look at it, it followed a bit of what HPQ story in a certain way. Like at the beginning, everybody was sort of laughing at it, and now it's like become a real part of how the communication is, and it's much enjoyable, and also for me to have an ability to have an outlet where I can at least blog my thoughts on what's going on, like I just did not long ago about the shorts and everything else. So it's a nice area. It's a nice tool to have. So there we go. It was the infomercial for Agoracom I did. It's part of my contract. If I don't do this, you'll break my legs.
If not, I'll just superimpose your face onto someone who is talking about it, because now the technology exists, right? You can put your face on anybody and have them say the speech.
Yeah. I've seen people making deep fake pictures of all of us.
Deep fake. Yeah. But
I'm still normal and real. It's like my defaults are normal. There was an article on how deepfake is moving and everything else. Maybe by 2021, I'll become a virtual spokesperson.
Yeah, don't kid yourself, right? They may come to the point where live on camera you have to do a thumb, prick your thumb and see actual blood come out. So we know.
Oh, they can still create it digitally.
So we know that's you. But it's true that this is a great tool, but let me tell you something. You're still far ahead, you and Peter, of most CEOs who are effectively using these technologies and modes of communication. So again, I'm going to say hats off to you guys, because there's still a lot of CEOs who are stuck in the mud. They want to put out a press release. They want to talk to people at a bar and a restaurant. No, that's not the way it happens anymore. So look, the results show. Thanks so much for everything you do, Bernard. Congratulations on a great year. Happy New Year to you and your family. Happy New Year to all shareholders, all HPQ shareholders at home. I hope all of you have an extra, raise an extra glass and a toast to Bernard. In Bernard, we trust, right? In Bernard and Peter, we trust. And looking forward to having you back in the new year. Looks like if I go on that 11-day cycle, then we should be having you back somewhere around January the 7th or something like that. January the 8th. I'm just extrapolating. But thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic, safe, and happy new year.
Happy New Year.
Talk to you next time.